There we go. Hello, hello, friends. That took a long time. All right, maybe there's a little delay today. Hello, hello. Happy Tuesday. All right, so I'm going to hang out for a second, let you guys jump in. I am Jody Harvilla. We are in the midst of our tricks and treats for the month of October each day. Coming on and just sharing a little something from spirit and things that you guys might want to know about or want to be introduced to. Of course, you can always reach out and let me know your thoughts on different things, or if there's certain subjects you guys want me to talk about, you can go to my website, jodyharvilla.com, and send in one of the notes. There's a way to contact me so you can let us know what you want to know about. Okay. All right. I'm going to hang for a second. Looks like there's kind of a delay today. Hopefully it's all working correctly. Say hello in the comments. Also, when you jump on. Okay, let me put this over here. So, of course, the doors to Spirit School are still open for a little bit longer. And so if it is something that you're thinking about, maybe you have some questions on it, you want to know a little bit more about it, make sure that you reach out and let me know. We definitely want to know if you have questions so I can answer them. Spirit School is it's such a beautiful community. I really am lucky because, and I don't know if it's luck, but I think I really call in such nice, beautiful women. I was just talking to a woman this morning, and we have a new retreat place for next year's fall retreat. More on that on the way. But we were talking, and I always tell my retreat people, I'm like, yeah, don't worry about us. Like, I have the nicest people that show up. Like, I have the nicest community and so many good people. And so I'm very excited to bring them to her place. And because I could tell I've been trying to call in a little bit of a newer place. I love the place that I've had it on the past few years, but I want a lake, and I want the woods, and I want cabins. And I think people really get healing, nurturing energy out of that piece. And so I've been calling it in for a while, and I've been bringing a bunch of light to it, which is what we're going to talk about today. And I reached out, and this woman is so great. First of all, she's great, and I've never talked to her on the phone or met her yet, but our emails are so fun. And I was like, oh my God, this is going to be so fun. And I'm really excited for it. So I will let you know about that soon. Okay, friends. But right now, of course, our focus is on Spirit School and having community consistently on an ongoing basis, and how that community can bring in some light into your life when maybe the people around you, or you don't have a community, or you don't have a ton of friendships. I really find that. I hear that. I bet I hear that every day, that women really struggle to find friendships after like 40, 45, 50. And these kinds of communities are kind of built-in friendships. It's at least a place that you can belong. And sometimes you don't stay forever. That's okay. That's okay. Sometimes you just need a community for a year, and then maybe you find a different community and a different community. Like I have different groups that I go to for different things. And I find I need different communities for different things. And it works really well. So Spirit School is still open. The doors are open. We would love to have you. The ladies would love to welcome you in. They were so sweet the other night. A new person came in to class, and they were just so sweet welcoming her in. So I love that. I love that. So please do check out the page and see if it's something that calls to you. Okay. Yep, Donna. I agree. She said, love this community. We're lucky to have you. Oh, and I'm lucky to have you guys. I created a community because I needed one, to be super honest. I remember talking to a friend of mine, and I told him, I just said, I just feel like I don't have a community. And he's like, build one, like create one. And I was like, oh, duh, of course. So that's one of the steps on how Spirit School was created. So if you have questions on Spirit School, please reach out. Please reach out. Or if you want to talk to somebody that's in Spirit School, I know there's a few ladies that would be happy to talk to you about it. So that's always an option for you too. Okay. All right. So today what we're going to talk about is bringing light into situations, and how do we take something that's going on and create different energy around it. Like you can't destroy energy, but you can shift it. You can transform it. And to me, that's magic. Like that's so magical. And it took me a long time to kind of figure out, like, oh, if I would just look at this with a little bit lighter perspective, like that could change the vibration, which opens up the doors for solutions to come in. And when we live in such a wild world now, because I just think it's a wild, wild world, I think there's a lot of things that could use a lot of light. And sometimes you don't really know what to do. And you don't know how to handle a situation, or you don't know what to do about it, or there's nothing you can do about it. And that's when a lot of people just send prayers, or they'll send light, or they'll send healing, or they'll send love, or whatever it is. Basically what they're doing is sending light to a situation that feels dense. Does that make sense to everybody? And sometimes certain situations are really heavy and you don't know what to do, and you don't know how to help, or you don't know how to make someone feel better or anything like that. And so when we talk about, sending light to someone or adding light to something, it's really what we're doing. And it was super cool to watch people let light in during the Camino. Like we had a group of 36 people. And what was really cool, when I go to places like Sedona or on the Camino, or when I'm in Montana, or any of my little magical places that I like to go, even at the farm or the lake, or in my little she shed, like I can see when people let the light in, and I can see when they push it away. And I do think a lot of people are kind of trained to push things away, or they are not feeling worthy of it, or they don't want it, which is okay, or they push it away, or they, all that kind of stuff that comes up. And it was so fun to watch people let the denseness go and fill themselves back up with this light energy. And I had such a huge moment of that. It was really cool, and it was completely unexpected. I didn't know it was coming. I didn't know it was happening. I had one of the days, I don't even remember which day it was, honestly. I'd have to kind of look at the pictures. And I was with my little group, and we were just playing in that witch energy and that magic energy and having so much fun. And we'd come around the corner, and we had just had this great experience, and we were sitting at the coffee shop, and Sunny kind of came around the corner, and she just kind of stopped and looked at us all like, what the hell have you all been into? And one of the girls gave her a big hug, and she had some tears come, and we all just like held space for her. And it was just this great little moment. And then I was like, man, because I was starting to not feel well, and I knew I was starting to not feel well. So I'm like, okay, what can I do to add some light and to bring my vibration up, to keep myself healthy and keep walking and all that kind of stuff? I'm like, hey, can you just work on my chest for a minute? It's getting congested. And she put her hand on me, and she was doing this great energy work, which was so cool. And then she's like, I think you need to go over to that tree over there and stand on, you need to stand on the earth. Like you need the grass and the dirt and stuff like that. And she had me kind of put my forehead on the tree and my hands on the tree. And she started doing this great energy work, because energy work works, my friends. And just all this shit started coming up and out, and I was crying, and I was like, what is happening? And I could feel it so strongly. And it felt like it like lifted up out of my feet and just like left my body. It was one of my favorite moments. Not the most comfortable moment, but one of my favorite moments, because I felt this heavy energy leave. And she kept reminding me, now bring in the divine light, bring in the light, bring in the lightness, bring in the light, which ended up being one of my biggest messages from the Camino, is to lighten up and bring light into my life and light into every day and just bring light into things. And I never asked in the moment, like, what all that was that left. It just didn't feel like I needed to know. And it didn't feel like I needed to think about it. And it didn't feel like anything except let it go. Like, you don't need it anymore. Let it go. And a couple, I think it was a week or two later, we kind of had a follow-up call for all of us, just to see how we were all doing. It was kind of hard coming back to real life when you get to have that kind of freedom. And I was telling her about this, how beautiful it was and what a great session that was. And that it's why I love doing energy work for people. And I said, and I just remember so clearly knowing I didn't need to know what it was. And I said, I don't know if I need to know what it is now. And she's like, well, she said, it was all the pain that you kept holding on to that held you back. And I was like, oh, why would I do that? And I think a lot of people do that. We just kind of store it and we're like, oh, I'll hold on to that and I'll hold on to that, because if I have that, then I can't do that. And it's kind of a self-sabotage piece. And one of the messages, even from the first day when I reached out because my feet hurt so bad, another teacher of mine, she's like, you got to bring more light in. You got to bring more light in. Like, it was a theme for me that whole week, is to bring more light in, bring more light in, bring more light in. And it was just so repeated over and over and over. And I just thought, oh, it's such a simple thing to do. Just bring the light in. And so I started asking Spirit when I was walking, or I was having moments on my own, or even with some of the girls, we talked about it. But I was like, okay, what are some different ways I can bring the light in? Well, I can plug into the light. I can plug in. I'm a Leo. I'm a fire girl. So I can plug into the sun, which always feels good to me because I feel like it burns away whatever doesn't need to be there. And then it fills me with that fire. Love that feeling. The moonlight. I've always been had a thing with the moon. So this morning I was talking to a client and she's resetting the energy in her house. She had a whole bunch of people come in the house and she just needed to kind of reset it. And I was like, your bed needs some different light to it. It just needs a different light. And I was like, it's not sunlight. It's not the star. I was like, oh, it needs moonlight to help you rest. And I thought, oh, that's a really great, thanks, Spirit. That's a great little exercise. So the visual was for her to bring light into her bedroom and into her bed, into her mattress, into her pillows, into her blankets. Like imagine that light going in, because what happens in your brain happens energetically. And so maybe your house needs to bring in some new light, or your house, like your body needs some light. A lot of times people just look cloudy to me. That's why I love doing energy work, because then I can clear away the clouds and I bring all this light in and it's so fun. And I think it's an easy exercise that people forget to do. So right now there is huge hurricane moving towards Florida again. A lot of us have friends in Florida, a lot of us. And so we're sending a lot of light that way. And we're sending the light with the intention that the storm stalls out or slows down or weakens, or whatever words you want to use. So that's the way a lot of us will use that energy. Or in North Dakota, there's been some wild fires that I don't remember hearing about a lot of fires in North Dakota, but out towards west, there was just some big, huge fires. So I kept sending light out there to, whether it's to bring in rain or enough support or whatever to dampen the fires. So if someone has illness in their body, that's usually a denser, darker energy, right? And so if they ask for prayers, and if they ask for healing energy, or they ask for Reiki, or they ask for whatever, I'm happy to send them a big ball of light. Absolutely, we'll do that. Sometimes if I'm on a walk and we have a couple houses in the neighborhood that are super run down, and I'll just send them some light, and then it's up to them if they want to take the light in or not. So I think the use of light is not talked about enough. And it's such an easy thing to do. You just use your imagination and you send light. You can send light to people. You can send light to businesses. You can send light to yourself. You can fill yourself up with light, which I highly recommend, several times a day. One of the things that people kept talking about on the Camino is how light I looked and how bright I looked. And if you look at the pictures, like, I'm exhausted, but I am light and bright because all day long, all I had to focus on was myself. And so I just kept filling myself up with light. And the more you fill yourself up with that lightness, the less room the denseness has. So it has to come up and come out. So I think people, I think people get full of that really dense energy. Like, I've looked at clients before, I'm like, damn, you're full. Like, you need to do you need to talk it out. You need to clear it out. You need to do some energy work. You need to do a phone call. You need to do a session. You need to do some therapy, like whatever you need to do, but like, you're full. And you can be full emotionally, you can be full energetically, you can be full with kind of like think about the things you feed yourself all day. We talked about that a lot too on the trail. What do we feed ourselves with? And not food. Like, what kind of energy are you feeding yourself with? Are you always looking for what's wrong? Are you always looking for where there's problems? Are you always looking for, I used to do this, like, everything, I always was looking for everything I needed to heal and everything I needed to fix about myself. And I remember I was doing mentoring at the time, and every week I'd have something that I want to fix. And one week I was like, you know what? I have to stop fixing myself, because all I keep doing is finding things wrong with me. And I actually would like to work on the things that feel good to me. And she's like, that's a really good idea. And man, it changed how life was. Like, I know there's a lot of energetic teachers out there, and they teach you, watch out for all the lower vibrations, and watch out for this. And oh my God, you have entities on you. And oh my God, you have attachments. Ugh, drives me crazy. It honestly is so irresponsible, because it plants a seed of fear that all you do is watch out for what's going to hurt you. I hate that. And so I've really learned over the years to start looking for what's working and what's right and what feels good, and where can I put my energy into something that actually is working for me. And that was really hard, because I'm trained really well into what's not working and what I don't have. I can go there so quickly, and I often daily I have to pull myself, like, no, what's working? No, what is working? What can you build upon? Where are you learning some things that are helping you go towards what you actually want? And to me, that's feeding myself with light, not feeding myself with the worry or the stress or the anxiety or all the other words that I use that are so harsh. And it's not that I don't feel angry sometimes, or anxious sometimes, or sad sometimes, or whatever. There's nothing wrong with feeling that way. But do I want to keep feeding that piece, or do I want to let that energy move and get back into a more neutral space? And that was hard for my head to wrap around, because I didn't grow up that way. You know, I grew up in like, what's wrong? What do we not have? What are we annoyed with? What are we frustrated with? What's not working? How broke are we? Like, all that kind of, that was my mindset. And so learning how to feed myself differently on the Camino was life-changing. And I had already started that work. I've started that work years ago, but it was so fun to see it from all these different experiences. And one of the girls said this on our talk the other night, because someone asked if we felt like we had enough food, because they were wondering if we had to pack food, or, you know, and there's lots of little restaurants. The part we walked on, there was lots of little coffee shops and stuff. So you could get snacks, and you can get bread and cheese, all you want, bread and cheese, and gross ham, and different things. And so we kind of laughed, because we're like, well, kind of, yeah, but we were so full in other ways. And I loved how she said it, because she said we weren't necessarily hungry food wise. We were feeding ourselves with each other. We were having the best conversations, and we were working through our stupid stories that we held, and we were enjoying the scenery, and we were enjoying our company, and we were enjoying the physical side of it, and we were enjoying the emotional side of it. Like people would cry and we'd be like, yay, because we knew what was happening. And bringing in so much light in so many different ways absolutely shifts your body, mind, and spirit to how you're feeding it. So a lot of people are watching the news and the politics. That maybe isn't the best snack to have. Maybe it'd be better for you to go outside and go for a walk instead. Or my husband loves to read all these different things, and I'm like, dude, like I just don't think that's a good meal for you. And he just started laughing. He's like, well, I don't do it on the weekends. I'm like, try not reading it during the week either, and see if you feel better. And he's a really light guy. He's super light guy, but I can tell when he's been doing different things because of what he's feeding himself, and not around the food. When you have kind of a commitment to yourself and you do it, you're feeding yourself this accomplishment energy. And I think a lot of us really kind of got that message on the Camino too, is we felt so accomplished. Like, how can we bring that back to our daily life? And a lot of times it's doing the self-care piece and feeding ourselves the light instead of all this dense bullshit out here. So yeah, yep. Beverly said, I forget about the light. Don't forget about the light, you guys. So bring yourself with light, fill yourself with light. So great question. From Pam, she said, I have health issues right now. And she's, she feels bad asking for support. Get over it. Get over that. Sometimes you just need support. And you knew I would say that to you, Pam, because we've had that conversation. And then she says, even if I'm a bit weakened, can I still fill myself with light? Yeah. Sometimes when you're sick, and I struggle being sick. I don't like being sick. I fight it. I've learned really I've learned not to fight it as much, but nobody really likes being sick. And so instead of getting in my head, because what I see a lot of sick people do is they try really hard to heal themselves. And you don't have the energy sometimes. And you fight against yourself when your body just needs to rest. And you're in there going, I am well, I am well, I am well. And your body's going, no, I'm fucking not. No, I'm not. I'm not well. Like you try to jump too high. And you try to bridge yourself from total sickness to wellness in like 30 seconds. Like, it doesn't work that way. And so instead of taking yourself down that rabbit hole, just close your eyes, rest, and just imagine whatever healing light coming through every cell, every bone, every bit of blood, every little spot in your body. Just imagine yourself calling in the light. Green light often is what a lot of us use for healing light. Okay, that's Archangel Raphael, and he's the Archangel of healing. So a lot of people use green light. I also, for me personally, when I'm working on someone that's not feeling well, or I know they have some health issues, or they're walking through cancer or whatever, sometimes I'm really guided in just to bring in a rainbow. Because to me, the rainbow, it's everyone. It's all of the light. It's all the colors, all the light, all the prisms, all of it. So sometimes I like to just call in a rainbow and just say, do what you need to do. And I just let the light come in. Sometimes if you're not feeling well, best thing you can do is rest and just let the light fill you up. Sometimes it'll warm you up too. When you have a fever and you have chills and you just can't get warm. Sometimes when you fill yourself up with light, that can calm things down. Maybe if you're not sleeping well, like I do this on the nights when I don't sleep really well, I still want to rest. And so I'll just bring in a calming light. Like maybe it's a really calming lavender light, or it's a really pretty pink light or whatever. So you can also use different colors when you call in the light. Sometimes I'll just ask myself like, okay, what color do I need today? And like today I just heard green and purple. So, all right, I'm just going to bring in some green and purple. I had a little bit of a headache earlier. So, and I don't know if I just didn't drink enough water yesterday, like who knows what the headache's from. So I just started bringing in some light, and the light takes up so much room that the headache has to leave. Okay. Does that make sense, you guys? Yeah. I know, Pam. I got you. I know what you're like, sister. You guys, when you're sick, sometimes you just need help. Sometimes you need to pay for help if you don't have the support system in place. Sometimes you have friends that would really like to help you, so maybe you could just allow them to. I was talking to a friend the other night, and I was like, I keep offering help, and they keep saying no to me, and it's pissing me off. And because we have a friend going through some stuff, and I was just so irritated, and I'm like, see, it's so irritating when people don't take the help, and they don't need to take the help, but sometimes the people that want to help, you cut them off. And so instead of having this beautiful circle of giving and receiving, they want to give and you shut up the receiving. Like you just shut it down. Like, how does that feel? Doesn't feel great. Now, there's also people that overhelp, so it's okay to have boundaries. But a lot of times we're trying to learn how to be good receivers because many of us are good givers. Many of us are really good givers. We are over givers, and then you suck at receiving. But to complete the energetic circle, you actually have to learn how to receive. You just have to. And what was really fun, that was another piece that I noticed on the Camino. I noticed it in so many ways. So we all had euros, of course. And when we would go to these coffee shops, it was so funny. The first day always stuck out to me because I was a little miserable on the first day. Didn't have a good mindset. I was absolutely focused on the pain, not really in my best self. And I remember we stopped at this coffee shop and I had to pee and I was hungry and there was a line at both. And I remember looking at both the lines and I'm like, oh no. And Nikki like yelled at me because she was already in line and she goes, Jody, do you need a sandwich and a Coke or something? And I'm like, oh, fuck yes, please. She's like, I got you. Go pee. And because she knows me, I have to pee all the time. So I was like, oh, thank God. So then I went there. And then on another day, I saw her and I'm like, hey, I'm in line. Do you need this and this? And she's like, yeah. And we had this little group that we would always kind of travel with. And we all just took turns just buying little snacks or drinks or coffee or whatever. And it was so fun and so natural because none of us did the fight of here, let me give you some money, or here, let me do this, or here, let me pay you back. We all just let whoever was buying buy. And then in the next place, someone else would buy. And then in the next place, someone else would buy. And we never talked about it. It just was. And I loved that piece so much. At one point, I was trying to get some more euros. It wasn't working. The cash machine didn't want to take my cards and stuff. And I tried like 5 different ones because they had said, hey, sometimes they don't take certain cards, blah, blah. Whatever I was doing wrong wasn't working. And I was telling this one girl who was way more traveled than I was. And she's a new friend and it was wonderful. And she just reached in her purse and she gave me some euros. And she goes, here you go. Don't worry about it. I've been seeing you work on people all week. And I was like, oh, no. I don't like, no. And she's like, stop. She goes, we're all receiving and giving this week. And I was like, okay. And it was so great because I know that's why the little ATMs didn't work. And I was able to purchase dinner for her and different things like that. But it was so fun to see such a smooth circle of giving and receiving. It was so fun because nobody cared. Nobody cared. We all just knew that we all had enough. And it was cheap. Like things were cheap there, which kind of was fun because it was just more fun because we'd be like, oh, let me buy for everyone. And this is so fun. Here we don't always have the cash to do that. But to see that circle and then come home and have people block that, I was like, oh, so irritating. So irritating. So let people give and receive as you feel guided. Okay. Donna said, yep, I'm a good giver and I've learned to ask for help when I need it. And everyone is so used to me doing it all, right? I'm pretty, my son teases me when I ask him for help on something he doesn't want to do. He'll tease and he always helps, but he's teasing and he's like, Mom, you're a strong, independent woman. I know you can do it yourself. I'm like, I know I can do it myself too. I just don't want to. And he'll laugh and he'll be like, well, I don't want to either. And so it's all right that you have to ask for help with things. It's also all right if you need to hire people that are not your family and friends. I would much rather hire someone and support them in some way than ask people that I know damn well don't want to help me. Like there's things I don't want to do for people. I am not going to help you move. Not doing it. I'm not. I'm not going to be that friend. I'm never going to do that. And I'm really clear about that with my kids. I'm like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. And so but I will absolutely go buy groceries or cleaning supplies or bathroom shit like I'll go do that kind of stuff. I would much rather do that. But I'm not going to help you do that. So you go find somebody else or hire someone else. Does that make sense? So I learned early on that, my family didn't really want to be babysitters for my kids. And so I went and really worked hard on attracting some good people to help me watch my kids. You don't have to babysit my kids. I was annoyed at the time for sure. However, it was great that I had all these people that it was a very clear transaction. You come watch my kids, I will pay you, I get to go to work, all is well. Sometimes it's a clear line to do it that way. Okay, that makes sense? All right, Donna said, such a great feeling when everyone's on the same page. I can feel the happiness in your voice when you talk about your experience. Yeah, it really was. It really was cool to see the give and the receive in a way that was so clear that we all got to see that. And it did not matter who was in our group. Like sometimes it was 2 of us, sometimes it was 10 of us. And it was so fun that way. I don't know. It's hard to explain how great it was. And some of the people I really had just met. I didn't know a lot of people. And so to have that fast friendship and that fast trust, like, oh, you're part of our group, come in, let's do this. So it was really fun. It was really, really cool to see the give and the receive so easily. It was so beautiful. I just loved it. Yep, we are learning to receive. That is the best way to say it, Shondell. I am learning to receive. I had one client that she really wanted to, I can't remember the entire story, but she really wanted to learn how to receive. And she had a great friendship group. I don't know that you could do this with every friendship group, but hers, you definitely could. They were super supportive for her. And so on her birthday, she said, I want to have a party and I would like all of you to bring me a gift. It can be homemade. She didn't need anyone spending money on or any of that kind of thing. She said, but I need to learn how to receive. And normally on my birthday, she always cuts them out from giving her gifts. She just says, absolutely no, don't buy me anything. Don't bring me anything. Don't make me anything, like nothing. And that year she told everyone to please bring her a gift because she was learning how to receive, because she was a big giver and she was a big giver to her friends. And I said, what a disservice you're doing to your friends to not allow them to do that back for you sometimes. And she never even thought about it that way. She never even thought about it that way. And so she asked them all to bring her gifts so she could learn how to receive. Of course, they showed up in spades. And it was a really cool story. And I share it a lot with people because bringing that light back to you is just as important as bringing the light out. So I give a lot of light. I have to learn how to receive it back too. So I'm full, because otherwise you guys are giving all your light away and then you're just dim. Well, that doesn't work. How is that okay? That's not okay, friend. Then you're just sacrificing yourself and you're being a martyr and a victim. That doesn't work. Not in today's world. Today's world, we got to keep the energy moving. Yep. Karen said it is very hard for me to ask for help, and I really needed it these last 3 months. It is hard to ask for help. And there's a part of us that I think our generation definitely was taught not to ask for help. There's a lot of pride in the world. There's a whole lot of pride in the world. And my dad was super prideful. And I was like, yeah, well, it's not helping us now, because now we need even more help. Because what happens when you don't ask for help, when you need the help, is then it becomes a crisis. And then you got to bring in even more help because it's become such a mess. That was me. I wouldn't ask for help. I would wait it out. I would make it turn into this big crisis. And then it would be a whole other mess where if I would have just asked for help in the beginning, none of that would have had to happen. And I was like, well, damn, that's a hard habit, because then I'm always in crisis before I receive the help. But if things are going well and I ask for help, or maybe things aren't going well, I know they're not going well, something doesn't feel right, and I ask for help, then I don't need to go into the crisis about it. So think about that too when you guys are not asking for help or not telling people when you need help. I don't think she's on today. She might watch the replay though. But I had a woman at one of my retreats, and she wasn't doing well. And I was sensitive to that year because just a few months before, one of my clients died. And so I had set a rule that no one else gets to die. None of my clients get to die. I don't like it. Don't want to walk through that again. And I was teasing them, but I'm like, that doesn't get to happen. And this woman is very strong lady. She has walked through hell and back 7 times in her life. And she wasn't feeling well. And she didn't tell me because it was at night and she didn't want to wake me up. But one of my rules at my retreats is if you need me, you need me. I don't care what time it is. I can be tired and help you. It's fine. And man, did I get pissed, because if someone needs some support like that and then you don't say anything, it can be, it didn't, but it could have become a crisis very quickly. So think about that energy when you are shy to ask for help. If I don't ask for help now and this gets worse, then what? Because sometimes that's enough. That'll just force you to ask for help when it's not so bad. Okay. Keep that in mind for my people that don't like to ask for help, because sometimes that's creating a much worse scenario than if you would just ask for help. Okay. All right, friends, that is what I have for you today. I will be on live again tomorrow at noon. And then Thursday, I believe it's at noon. I might be just a couple minutes late on Thursday. I don't think I will be. But just in case, I might be a couple minutes late. And then Friday, I'm going to come on at 10 a.m. Okay. So check my books and that works. And so I will be on Friday morning. Okay. All right, friends, I will see you tomorrow at noon. Go fill yourself up with some light in any way that works for you, whatever color works for you. Try it and see. Fill your house up with light, fill your car up with light, like fill everything up with light and see how different you feel throughout the day. And for some of you that struggle, challenges, go ask for some help with something today. Just see how many people show up for you. Okay. All right, guys. See you tomorrow. Have a great day.